The great goddess Lakshmi is the Hindu version of Aphrodite. And it's known in her stories that she is a lover of attention. That where attention goes, goddess flows. Where we place our awareness is where energy floods. Beauty responds to recognition. In the story of Lakshmi, she is in her castle and she, everything is like beautiful gold and she has all the luxuries, and she notices that her consort Shiva is just like out meditating and not paying attention to her. And she's like, what gives? Like, I am the goddess of abundance and beauty. Why wouldn't you want to spend time with me? And so she's like, okay, well, I'm just going to go explore a little bit. So she starts to head out of the temple gates, and she finds on the borders like a fence she's never seen. She's like, oh, what's out there? She starts to travel through, and the neighboring town she finds is actually impoverished. And while in her kingdom, there are just greenery growing everywhere and flowers blossoming, in this land, it's very barren and dry. And yet she walks up, she gets hungry, and she walks up to someone's door and knocks on the door and says, I'm hungry. And they say, Goddess Lakshmi. It's like a huge celeb sighting. It's like, Goddess Lakshmi, oh my God, you grace us with your presence. Come in. We don't have much food. We just have a little rice, but we'll give you whatever we have, and we always have enough to share. And so she sits, and they all regale her with tales. She regales them with tales, and as she thanks them so much for their attention and intention and awareness. And when she leaves, the inside of the house is painted a gilded gold, and as she walks away from the house, every step has left plumeria flowers in its wake. And the path of greenery is lined all the way back to her fence. And more she just finds, like, she just wants to adventure out into the town. She doesn't want to stay in this golden palace. She wants to go meet these people, the salt of the earth. And every time she goes, they honor her with so much love. And of course, in her wake, she leaves beauty everywhere. So the town begins to become full of greenery. Forests are growing up, flowers everywhere. She starts to go to people's houses, and they're like, we have a feast. Come and enjoy the fruits of our fields, enjoy the fruits of our animals. And back home, however, Shiva starts to notice the paint is peeling off their walls, and there's actually a smudge of dirt on the floor, and there's a crack in the wall. And he's like, what's going on? Lakshmi, what's up? And he sees that he hasn't been paying the goddess attention, and of course she brings her beauty elsewhere. This is all to drive in the point that beauty responds to recognition. When we truly see something, we see nature, we see goddess, we see love, because in the end, that's all there is. We can develop this eye of the goddess, this eye for truth, this eye for seeing things as they truly are, by seeing our own body as she truly is, by gifting our body with acknowledgement and recognition. In order to do our sacred mirror gazing practice, first of all, this is a beautiful ritual to undertake in all of its fullness, and it's become a lifestyle for me and for many of us, and it is the foundational practice of a tantric goddess, of any woman who is walking the embodied path of sacred sensuality and spirituality. And it is to really see ourselves, not with an ego eye of like, ooh, look at me, I look so great. Because in reality, let's be real, the flip side of that coin is like, oh, I'm old, I don't look good, I'm my breasts aren't good enough, whatever. And we all know that voice well enough, because guess what? We're trained to think of our bodies that way. It's just the foundation of capitalism. It's what sells products. And the most effective way to disconnect anyone from their power is to disconnect them from their bodies. In fact, even better if you turn them against their bodies, right? So wherever you are in your journey with your body, we can always deepen that, and mirror work is always going to be a pathway to that. Now, you'll find in your last Temple Priestess folder that we journeyed with our body as nature. So taking ourselves out into nature and using all of our senses to receive her, and then receiving our own body with all of our senses. That is a tool that is foundational that we'll just keep building on in all of our practices, particularly, this is another, the mirror gazing is another preparatory practice for our peak practice of the full body worship. Now, in order to enter into this practice, you want to create sacred space. You want to declutter. You want to even craft a little altar in your bathroom, temporarily or permanently. Always good to craft an Aphrodite altar or a sacred sensuality altar in your bathroom if you feel the call. And just to make your bathroom as beautiful as possible, with knowledge that some of us are moms sharing with lots of Barbies and rubber duckies, and we do what we can, however we can, and we do it with kindness and compassion. That is always going to be our primary technique in all of our practices. We want to be kind and gentle with ourselves. That is the purpose. There's no way to do this right. There's the way to honor yourself and to experiment and explore. So the invitation is to create sacred space, to ideally have a bath or shower first, to create whatever space in your room with your mirror that you can, whether it's your bathroom, whether it's your room, and to light a candle and to meet yourself, and to first meet your eyes, to gaze into your eyes, to see yourself as you are, to acknowledge yourself, to sit, to meditate by seeing your soul through your eyes, and to offer her affirmation, I see you, I know who you are. And then to broaden that to our body, to slowly travel over our energy centers, particularly our feminine energy centers of breasts, womb, yoni, but really to meet every inch of our skin. And it's really powerful to do this in conjunction, in communion with the body oiling practice, or even the full body worship practice. So long as, or to basically to add mirror work on top of the full body, with the full body worship practice, but to really, especially if this is edgy for you. So if looking in the mirror, if you find you have any negative talk in the mirror, this is a powerful place to catch those thoughts and to replace them with a true seeing of yourself as nature, and all of the unique forms that nature takes, just as we journeyed in our body as nature ritual, coming into a felt sensation of your body as you gaze upon her. And after taking your throne in front of the mirror and gently traveling over your eyes, over your body, maybe in communion with touch, staying as present as possible with that process, which is really challenging. Like a seated meditation is challenging. Staying present with our body can also be really challenging. We know that one way for the unconscious to protect us when we're entering into edgy territory is by getting distracted, getting bored, getting annoyed, being like, this isn't that important anyway, or turning to our phone and changing the music. So many ways that we can get distracted. So we want to stay present and give this as much respect as we would give any seated meditation. And really, we are communing with the goddess. We are understanding our own body as goddess. And that is not an intellectual concept. And it can only be embodied in order to take on its true power. Seeing the whole of yourself in the mirror, you might find you're ready to open your legs and to take in your Yoni, the portal to all life, the source of life itself, the source of creativity, and to meet her as a stranger, to meet her as like, hey, what's up? I see you, and I'm curious, and I'm here to witness. And just noticing any negative talk or shame that arises in this very sensitive space, making sure to resource yourself by titrating. So we don't want to, go all in and then spin out the next day. We want to just dip a toe in, see how that feels, be gentle. Maybe there's just a breath for your Yoni. Maybe there's just laying your hand right in front. And just really seeing her with curiosity. This doesn't have to be like some sexual thing, Like it doesn't have to be like even a body worship thing. It's just like, oh, that's me. What do I look like? Oh, what's this? What's this? What happens when I open my legs really wide? What does my perineum look like? What does my anus look like? What does it feel like when I touch my inner thighs? This is very personal. So just get curious, get experimental, and just know that this can be like a really fun, empowering, sweet practice, or it can be a really triggering, challenging practice. And if it's the latter, we just want to go slow and we want to just do as much as feels right. I began my mirror gazing practice while healing myself of many different types of body images, dysmorphia, and eating disorders by placing, by cutting off my head, like by only seeing my body and not seeing my head, so I could actually disassociate in some ways from my body. So I could actually be like, oh, what's that? And kind of see with an external gaze. And that might be where you're at. Ultimately, we're working our way towards full embodiment. So instead of looking at ourselves from the outside in, we're gazing at ourselves, we're seeing our beauty, and we're also feeling ourselves. We're feeling ourselves from the inside out. This is a powerful way to resource ourselves in our upcoming underworld work and in knowing our boundaries. May you enjoy this journey with your mirror gazing and Yoni gazing. It is a profound practice that can enter into all parts of our life. Every time we see a mirror, we can simply meet her and see her. We can gaze into her eyes. We can notice when the judging mind's coming in or negative self-talk is coming in, and we can replace it with I see you, or I accept my body exactly as it is. That has been one of my most profound mantras that I still say multiple times a day to this day, even though I am in a friendly relationship to my body, a loving relationship to my body. I notice that the tendency to pick at my body and pick apart my body is actually a way that I seek to emotionally regulate. And this is very true for many women because that is one way that patriarchy has worked so deeply, is by separating us from our body. And that original sin has worked so deeply by sending the underlying message that our body is dirty, our body is shameful, our body is not good enough. May you meet any of these thoughts with the truth of breath, kindness, compassion, gentleness, and may this become the foundation for your own capacity to offer love, kindness, compassion, and gentleness to your people and to all the world. Blessings on your practice. Honoring you, Temple Priestess.